And even if, you say, for example, you are the lone wolf, like I mentioned, you don't give a flying hoot about such emotional attachments. And you like being the journeyman, you like being the Gypsy, you like being that free spirit, you go everywhere you want to go. Well, there are some other things that you have to consider that I have considered and have immediately said that's not going to work for me. There is, even if you go to another province in my country of Canada, there are certain types of coverage that you get from the government that make your life a little bit easier and protect you in case something goes horribly wrong. I'm going to bring up medical insurance as an example. Here in Canada, we have government healthcare that's paid for through our premiums, red tax, that ensure that if we need medical care, it is already paid for. Like I've gone to specialists in the past, I've gone to doctors in the past for ailments that I've endured, and I've not had to pay a dime for them because my OHIP premiums in Ontario cover that. But let's just say, for example, I decide to go to, say, Alberta, and I am there 9 months working at my new job. Everything's gone fantastic, and during a particularly tough Canadian winter in Alberta, which they are known to have, considerably worse than what I get here in Ontario, I slip and fall and I break a leg. Well, I'm living in Alberta now and I don't qualify for any benefits under the Alberta healthcare plan because I have not been there for a certain period of time. I think it's supposed to be a year that you have to reside in Alberta before you're covered. Now, it is possible I could still go back to Ontario and get care there, but that's kind of iffy. They may decide not to give you your health care premium to pay for your expenses. So you may be on the hook for medical costs. You may be, medical expenses are very expensive. I mean, why do you think doctors have 6-digit salaries? Because it's an expensive service, and you will be on the hook for that, and that could pretty much shut down whatever initiative that you've done in order to find a job. Even if you are established, you may find very quickly that you will not be able to hold on to that job if something falls through the cracks. So there is not just a big risk in terms of being affected of who you are emotionally and psychologically. There's also a real danger of going somewhere and not having the support network underneath you if you suffer, say, a medical ailment such as a broken leg or even cancer or diabetes. I mean, be careful with that. Now, on top of this, even if all this is said and done and you're just fine and there's no risk of going down those pitfalls, if you decide to go to, say, another country that has markedly different culture than you do. Let's just say, to use an example of my own, I have been told from someone watching my Being Unemployed is Not a Crime video that my qualifications would make me very suitable in the Middle East or China. Well, that's great that I would probably be able to find a job there fairly quickly, assuming that person is correct. But it's also understood that the Middle East and China are not exactly bastions of freedom and open democracy, not like what Canada is. I mean, if I were to go to either of those particular areas of the world, I would have a genuine cause of concern and worry about the government and most notably the police, who do not regard personal freedoms and rights as freely and as respectfully as what I am enjoying here right now. So, one mistake, though unintentional, I could basically find myself in a prison or savagely curtailed in such a manner that I would very quickly regret my decision going there for a job, no matter how many digits I'm being paid as a salary per year. There is a risk there from a political, cultural thing. There's also the language thing. Like, I don't speak Mandarin or any of the other languages, and certainly from the point of the view of the mass population, I am going to be the foreigner taking away their jobs. I will be considered something to be discriminated against. And that would be something that I won't be able to fight against this effectively, because as a white male, I've never faced discrimination before. And now it'll be the shoe on the other foot. How do I handle that sort of thing? There will be some cultural differences, some mannerisms that I have to be prepared to accept. And that might not be as easy as one might think. Some people might consider it a rewarding endeavor to learn a new culture, learn a new language. That's certainly not for me. But again, that's my choice and my particular freedom. So, okay, we've gone down those particular points. And I've tried to argue it from, say, a civil rights thing, constitutional thing, and I've also tried to express my feelings from the head and heart and from the psychology as to what would happen if you were to move. And you're still not sold. All right. The most important thing that we need to understand is a job is important. We need to pay our rent with it. We need to pay our bills with it. And if we want the nice shinies that come with living in a capitalistic society, such as an LCD screen for your TV, or a video game console, or a computer system, or that nice car, or maybe a trip to the Azores overseas every year, we need money. That's very important. A job certainly does play that important role. But a job is not you. It's not your life. And I have seen and I have read about a growing situation where we are struggling with a work-life balance, where who we are as individuals personally is coming into conflict with what we do as a chosen career, or even if you're not a career person, you're doing this as a job, simply to earn a buck, and that's starting to encroach on your personal life. It is not unusual for me to ask someone who they are, like what do they like to do, and be rewarded with a response by having them describe who they are by what they do on the job. I ask somebody, for example, what they want, who they are, and they say, well, I'm a computer programmer, or I'm a doctor, or I'm this. The first thing that comes flying out of their mouth is not who they are as a person, but what they do for a living. And that is their personality. And it's those type of personalities where when it's all said and done, if they're laid off or they are forced to retire, they find that they have nothing to do after it's all over. And it's very important that we have to recognize that work-life balance, that your job is not your life. It should never dictate to you how to live your life. You know, you can choose your career, but don't let your career or whatever choose who you are. If you find that your sort of work is getting in the way of your personal beliefs, then by all means, there's nothing wrong with saying, well, wait a minute, there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a line in the sand that you do not dare cross, lest you end up losing yourself. And that, to me, is probably the most important reason why I don't consider moving. Because right then and there, it's taking away my personal choice as a person to be who I want to be, because my job is telling me where I need to go. And to me, I think that's probably the most important reason why I would never consider moving to get a job. It flies in the grain as to who I am. In any case, this is my video for today. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this episode, and I look forward to seeing you in episode 8. Have yourself a good day. Bye for now.